Good morning. So my channel is usually faith-based videos, but being that I've been retired for a year now, I wanted to record something about what it's been like to be retired for a year. For those of you who are recently retired, those of you who've been retired for a while, or those of you who are still working. And I know this video will help every single one of you guys. So I want to go first back into what it was like in the beginning. And it's important that we keep ourselves busy. As I'm seeing this gentleman and this lady here cleaning the bay, how beautiful it is. That's people keeping themselves busy. It doesn't mean that just because you no longer work because you're retired that you're not useful for society. So they're right here collecting trash from the water, trying to keep our parks beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you. So it's important that we keep busy. So my first couple of months was a little bit rough because I didn't retire willingly. I was let go from my job. And so I found myself at 59 years old. What am I going to do now? Do I want to go back to work? And I thought about going back to the beginning of everything that I've done in all the years that I worked as a manager, specializing in inventory control, managing warehouse systems and putting things together. And I thought about going back to the beginning where training people, implementing systems, going through all that again. At 59, which I did since I was 19, 20 years old, I didn't want to do it. So I sat down with my financial planner and he looked at my numbers and he goes, you can retire with no problem. So that's what I decided to do. But now I'm left with okay, so what am I going to do now? I'm still healthy. I'm still young. I'm strong. And so what am I going to do? Just sit around? So I did it because I'm a health enthusiast. So I lost my job in the spring of last year. So it actually was a good time because I got to go to the gym a lot. I got to go running a lot. I got to volunteer a lot in things that I've always wanted to volunteer in. Like with my church, we have a food pantry, just giving out food and to people. So I also had an opportunity to stand outside and speak to these people. And obviously I spoke to some of them about the Lord Jesus Christ. Not making this a religious video, but I'm telling you what I did. And so it went like that. It was so beautiful because at first, I got up early as I always did. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with my day? It was actually pretty good because I, by 10 o'clock, I had most of the things done that I wanted to get done. But the beauty about it is that I learned how to do things at my pace. I was so used to, for so many years, working and running the rat race, going nonstop. And working, 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I never worked 10 hours a day, but 8 or 9 hours a day. And I would come home, I was exhausted, I couldn't do anything. And then the things that I wanted to do, the personal things for myself, for the house, I was limited how much time I had. And most of the things I had to plan it and do it on the weekend. So I wanted to do a lot. So here I am on a weekend, keeping myself busy, too busy to the point where I was so tired that when Sunday came around, I was beat and I was tired, and here I go, I have to go to work on Monday. So it was a vicious cycle back and forth. But now I had the opportunity to do things at my pace. I wake up when I want to wake up. I eat breakfast when I want to eat. I eat lunch when I want to eat. For instance, right now, I said I was leaving my house. I said, let me go get a haircut. But I decided to do this video first. I'm in no rush to get a haircut because right now I know that everybody's working. And that, when I go to my barber shop, he's going to be pretty much empty and I can just walk in and out in no time. So you get to do things at your pace, but you got to find things to keep you busy. You got to have hobbies. I enjoy hiking. So being that my family's working and I'm home alone, I'll get in my truck sometimes, drive up to the mountain and just go for, 2 or 3 hour hike. I'll go running. I live close to New York. I go to Liberty State Park and sometimes I go to, put in a 5-mile run and I don't feel like running, so I'll just sit there and watch the boats, watch the helicopters, see the skyline, just do things at my own pace. It's no rush. The hard part about it was, after my first year, the hardest part was the winter, because I live here in the Northeast. And when it's cold outside and if it's snow, and luckily we didn't get a lot of snow this year, but when it's cold outside, it's hard to do the things that you want to do outside, outdoor activities. So you got to more or less keep inside. I'm not a TV watcher. The only thing I ever watch on TV, not ever, the thing I watch on TV the most are sports, and I don't watch a lot of sports. So, how much time can that take? I don't like to binge watch like people do, because I'm not into those shows. I'm not into any of that. I'm not into watching series that last for seasons and seasons. Once in a while I'll sit and watch one, but to me it requires the guy goes by mowing the lawn or the grass. So I don't get into those things in the TV. So okay, so what do we do now? What do I do now? I read a lot. I read a lot of scripture, and I like to read, whatever books I have in my hand. Most of them are faith-based books, and I just keep myself busy reading, and that's what I did this winter. And it was tough because around February, March, I was like, okay, well, how much can I do inside? But now with the beautiful weather here, I get to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do, to a certain pace. My wife and I used to go food shopping on the weekends. Most of the times I tell her, don't worry about it. Why rush around on the weekend? Because she works full time. Why rush around? I'll just do it during the week. I'll get up Monday morning. It's funny, one day I drove my wife to work about 2 weeks ago. I dropped her off early. I got to drop her off by 7 a.m. So I said, let me go food shopping early in the morning. It was only me and the workers in the whole store. Well, it was actually one or two other customers. But it was so empty because they were still stocking shelves. I was never used to that. I'm like, wow, it's just, different pace. You get to see life a little bit differently and how people live. And the one beauty about it is the couple of times that I drive my wife to work, I'll drive her to work maybe once or twice a week sometimes if she asks me to. And I go out there and I see these people stuck in traffic. People blowing horns, getting mad at each other, frustrated. I'll hold off a second. As people are working, frustrated at each other. And it's just, I see people so angry. And I'm driving slow, and my wife's like, why are you driving slow? I said, well, you're going to get to work on time. I'm not in a rush. This guy's blowing his horn, let him blow his horn. I don't have to experience that on a daily basis every day. And that just adds onto your frustration. So my thing is this, and I'm not bragging about being retired, because I've thought about going back to work a couple of times. But once I start looking out there and start looking at these jobs, common sense, reality kicks in. I'm like, oh, what am I, nuts? Why do I want to go back to that? And I don't, so we got to keep and find purpose in life and things that we want to do. So, get some hobbies that you want to do. So I just look at how people are out there. So my advice to you is to retire as early as you can. Do whatever you can to put yourself in a position, if you can. Not many of us could, but to put yourself in a position where you can do that. And, how do you do that? There are many ways that you can do that yourself. And that's the way I look at it, is that, many people want to live, an extravagant life. Many people want to go on multiple vacations a year, want to have the most expensive car, the most beautiful car. They want to have, so many this, so many that, material things. Which at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But if that's what you want, that's what you want. But there's a price to pay. And so, me, myself, I choose not to live like that. I don't live like a pauper, because we do go on a good amount of vacations. We did work wisely when we were younger. My wife's still working. She wants to keep working, and I argue with her. Well, not that I argue with her, but I tell her, how long do you want to work? And if you want to get that extra year in, if you're 62 and you want to work to 65 to get just another $500 in Social Security at the end of the month, or if you're 65 and you want to wait till you're 70 to get that extra $500 or $1,000 a month from Social Security, if there is Social Security, I ask you, what guarantee do you have that you're going to live till you're 70? What guarantee do you have that you're going to live till you're 65? So I say, take it now what you can, if you can, because I know, like I said, I know many of you can, but if you can, take it now and just do what you got to do and just live life. It's not that you don't have a purpose. It's not that life becomes boring. It's what you choose to do. I love cooking. So, at home, I cook almost every night. I make these meals, I prepare them, I put the music on. Once in a while, I'll have a whiskey or a beer or a glass of wine while I'm cooking and have the music blasting, and you know, in walks my wife and my daughter with their stories, their horror stories of how their day went in work. So I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to hear that. And I'm like, I do listen to them, of course, but you know, what do we want? How much do we want? What do you want in life? Do you want to work to die? Or, you know, it's just, I just look at it this way, and it's just like, you know, my thing to you is this: if you can retire as soon as you can, and you know, there are going to be times throughout the year where it's going to be a little rough, but you get through it. But there are going to be many, many days like today. It's a beautiful day. It's partly cloudy. It's beautiful out, and you know, I get just to walk and you know, see the flowers, see the plants, listen to the animals, and you know, and just no stress. That's the most beautiful thing about retiring. That I'm not going to say no stress. Very little stress. And any stress that I do have, it's self-created. So shame on me, because I should be able to manage those things that bring stress into my life. But I don't, you know, foolishly. But I don't have any stress from other people. I managed so many people for so many years. I've managed as many, at one point I was managing as many as 100 people. That's a lot of stress. I don't want that anymore. And so I choose to just devote my time to my well-being, my fitness, eating right, to those who I love, and to the church. And that's what I choose to do. So I pray that you find yourself in a position where you can say, I'm done, I'm out of here, and just go enjoy life. God bless you, my friends.